And I didn't even have my earpiece in. Hello, everyone. This is Alia Jamal, the love coach. We are coming here live to learn about 3 steps to nurture self love. That is the topic we are talking about in today's Love Circle. I am so excited if you're joining us live, if you are watching it as a replay or as a recording, because this is a topic that does get it does not come on our radar much. Yes, I call myself the love coach. Yes, that is my mission and my purpose to teach people how to love themselves. But most of us don't actually sit down and really focus on, hmm, how do I love myself? Most of us, we actually assume we love ourselves. Because if you won't love yourself, it's something to be guilty about. That means you're not a kind person to yourself. So most likely you're not a kind person to someone else. So most of us, we just assume, oh, I love myself. The truth is we do love ourselves to some extent, but our love for ourselves is not as solid as a emotionally healthy human is supposed to have. So that is the work we are doing. Usually, we talk about other aspects of it, confidence, believing in yourself, worry, anxiety, depression, all those pieces. But today, we are going to focus straight on this feeling of being loved. How can you create it within you? So, before we even go into that, the 3 steps, according to my experience and what I'll be sharing with you, why do you even want to go for this? Why do you want to spend any time out of your precious life on nurturing self love? We all have wonderful families. We all have wonderful friends who love us. Most of us, we are very loved. Then why do it? Why do this work? So first, I want you to understand that piece, because if we don't understand why I need to do something I need to do, or why should I even attempt or invest in that thing, which we are talking about is self-love, if we don't even understand why, we are not going to do it. For example, let's say I'm just gonna take a weight example. Let's say you've been, like, playing around and you have extra 50 pounds and it doesn't really bother you. Your life is not disturbed by it. You're still an active person. Everything is good, right? And then one day you go to the doctor and the doctor say, hey, your cholesterol or whatever is a little high. I want you to lose weight now. So what happened? You just got a reason. Oh, why I need to do it. You're going to go home. You're going to come up with a plan and you'll be able to do it. But if the why is not there, you're not going to do it. So let's dig into the why. Why do we want to learn to love ourselves? And then the next step would be to learn ourselves unconditionally. That is what I'll be focusing on. That is what I teach, because self love and unconditional self love are 2 different categories, in my opinion, because most of us, we get hung up on self-love, and it's like we stop somewhere, but unconditional self-love takes you all the way through. Okay, so when we are little, let's say when you're just born, you're, you know a day old, maybe 2 days old, naturally we have this biological instinct within us where we are going to cry and we're going to ask for food. When we poop, we cry, and we get the attention of adults around us, and they do nurture us. Now, for whatever reason, if at that time, and if you have ever seen a new mom or new parents, they are going crazy. Lack of sleep, if this is first child, have no idea. If this is second child, they are busy with the first child. It's one of the craziest time, I believe, in the life of a couple when they do have a newborn. So let's say if mom is not really emotionally available, if she's not physically available, if there's something going on between mom and dad, and they're there but they are not there, the child picks up on that energy, and it creates a core wound. Now, core wound can be described two different ways. I'm not lovable, I'm not worthy of love, but at the end of the day, it translates to I don't deserve love, or I'm not good enough for this love. That is unconscious. It's not conscious. If you talk to an adult, they would be like, I don't think so. I think I'm lovable. That's their conscious answer. But unconsciously, we all carry that. Now, what happens from that place as we are getting older? Let's say maybe you're 3, 4, guilt and shame is born. Now, guilt says you did something wrong. And of course, it's taught by our parents. Parents are always the first one to teach the child guilt and shame. Again, it's unconscious. They all mean well. They don't even know. I didn't even know that that's what I was doing to my child. So guilt says you did something wrong, and shame says there's something wrong with you. So again, unconsciously, the child is internalizing, I'm not lovable, and then there's something wrong with me. So let's just pause here and really pay attention to. So the person is thinking inherently there's something wrong with them. That means they are not fixable. So it attacks the identity of the person. Again, it's unconscious. It's not in our conscious mind. You're not going to be aware of it unless you're going through a process to go that deep in your own consciousness and being able to see, oh, that's what's sitting there. Now that guilt and shame gets like, kind of packed on top of everything else, and it gives birth to some secrets. So let's say you're a teenager, you've been carrying that core wound for, more than a decade now. You've been carrying that shame and guilt within you that there's something wrong with you. Maybe you're not a good student. Maybe you weren't potty trained quick enough, or maybe you were the kid who never ate vegetable. Maybe you're the kid who never listened to your parents. And, that whole thing creates some secrets within us that creates fear. And the core fear for all of us is fear of rejection, because again, that's tied to our biology. There was a time if you got rejected, that meant death. Because if the clan kicked you out, no one is going to feed you. People lived in a group, so most likely the hungry lion is going to eat you. That pattern is still within us. So fear of rejection creates all kind of secrets. Oh, what if my friends find out, like, I'm not as cool as I pretend to be? And those secrets within us, within our personality that's developing, and combination of those fears that we have, fear of getting rejected by our peers, by our parents, by our sibling, by the society in general, we start to have specific beliefs about ourselves. Oh, I'm not a good person. I'm an introvert. I am this, I am that. And generally, these beliefs are not positive self belief. That's where we start to get shy. That's where, like, I don't think so. I can do good in exam. I don't think so. I'm confident enough to do what I'm here to do. And those self beliefs lead to us playing specific roles. So if you pay attention to when you were a little kid and you were living with your parents, what kind of role you were playing in your household? Were you the smart one? Were you the one who was really good in sports? Were you the rebellious one? Were you the one who didn't even care anyone exists or not? We all played those specific roles based on the starting from the core wound and the guilt and shame and the secrets that develop from that and the core fears that we have. So this is all unconscious, but it's creating our personality. These unconscious behaviors are the ones that are running the show. We think, oh, I'm just a bookworm. How did you become a bookworm? Did you become a bookworm because you needed to show to your parents, hey, I'm a good kid, love me? But that is unconscious. Consciously, you are a bookworm. Unconsciously, you became that because you were playing a role in the family. Now, what end up happening when we are stuck playing those roles? We have specific behavior patterns, maybe the way we interact with other people. or maybe how we want them to be. For example, maybe you want your parents to treat you certain way, so then you start to playing the role so they treat you that way. All of this is not your true self. These are just the roles you're playing that are, the source is the core wound. So let's bring it all the way into adult life. Now we are an adult, you're in a relationship, an intimate relationship, because that's where love really gets convoluted. And we are talking about emotion of love, not energy of love right now. So emotion of love, you're in love with somebody, and now you're living with that person, and the core fear is there, the core wound is still there. Back of your mind, you're thinking unconsciously, I'm not good enough to deserve this love. So again, there's guilt and shame. There's some secrets there. Oh, what if this person find out this about me? Again, unconscious. What if they reject me? What if they leave me for somebody else? From those fear, we start to manipulate the other person. If you don't do this for me, you don't love me. Have you ever heard anyone saying that? If you would love me, you would really do this for me. I know I have said that. And I had no idea what I was doing. I had no idea I was manipulating the other person, because that's what I thought. I thought if somebody would love me, they'll do anything for me. Because again, it comes from the relationship that we create out of survival with our parents. If they would love me, they'll feed me, they'll be here for me, they'll pick me up when I'm crying. But that's not true. That's not true. That is a behavior or a thinking pattern created out of survival. If we come out of survival and there's two emotionally healthy human, they don't manipulate each other based on, hey, if you love me, you'll do this for me. They both accept themselves. They both love themselves, and they come together to share that love. There's no back and forth, there's no exchange, there's no dependency in that relationship. But when we have been living with this core wound, we create dependent relationship. And when the person leaves us, dies, or whatever happened to that person, we fall apart. I don't know if any one of you have been there. I have been there. I have been there. When the person left, I completely fell apart. And I was like, wait a minute. I thought I was a very strong person. What just happened to me? It's like, you're thinking like, you're the strong metal made of iron, and all of a sudden you discover, oh my God, you're just a piece of sand. Literally, that's how it feels like. How do we rebuild ourselves then? That is what we're going to talk about. That's why self-love is more important. Because once become aware of the core wound there, so let's say, there's this stack of like core wound, guilt and shame, and the secrets, the fears, and the roles that you're playing. I mean, beliefs you have about yourself, the roles you're playing, and there's a tower, right? That tower exists, it creates your current personality, but that's not your true authentic self. That's not who you are. So what we are going to do now, we are going to build another foundation of loving yourself, accepting yourself just the way you are, showing up for yourself, being there for yourself. When this tower, this new foundation is very solid, even if the other one crumbles down, which it eventually does, you're not going to fall down. You'll be able to, yes, you'll be sad, you'll go through the period of grief, but you'll be able to hold yourself up. You're not going to start questioning yourself, your identity, when anything else falls apart or falls away from you. That's why it's very important to nurture that self-love. And another thing, another benefit that you get, The relationship you'll end up entering, if you're already in a relationship, it's going to shift in a beautiful way, because this is what happens. This is so wonderful about human being. When my energy shifts, let's say I am loving myself more, there's less judgment, I am more accepting of myself, I am not depending on my spouse to give that to me, I am giving that to myself. My energy body is shifting. It's more like radiant. So what's going to happen, the person who's living with me, their energy body is start to get impacted by that radiance. It starts to mimic it, so the other person start to shift as well. So as you love yourself more, you're helping your whole family. Everyone starts to shift in a way, in a positive way. They start to care about themselves more. Let's say, if you're so much into, um, um, no, I think that's not a, anyways, let's say you're really into fitness and you've been telling your partner, let's go to the gym together, let's do this, let's do that. And they're like, I'm not interested. And you have had many fights. And then one day you're like, you know what? It doesn't matter if he joins me or not. Let me focus on myself. Let me take care of myself. And he'll do it whenever he's ready. If you start to create that routine and if you fully release the other person, you'll see within a month they will join you without you even telling them, because now you're impacting them energetically, not by words, not by fighting, not trying to convince them, not trying to say, hey, if you love me, you'll take care of yourself because I don't want you to get sick. That's manipulation. So we don't have to do any of that. So what it does, it creates so much freedom within you, because you don't have to carry anybody's burden anymore. You just need to focus on yourself, and the radiance that is going to come out of you is going to start helping others. You don't have to go and tell them. Also, it creates so much freedom between your relationship with other people, because then you're not the person who's lecturing everybody what they should do. They're free to be whoever they want to be. They don't have to please you anymore, and you don't have to manipulate them anymore, so you can feel better about yourself, so you can feel secure. Oh, this person is not going to reject me. Another way we do it, when we don't have the solid relationship with ourselves, we reject ourselves before someone else can reject us. So we sabotage our relationship. We have such hard time to even have a beautiful relationship. So when we really nurture self-love, it completely transforms how we experience life, the kind of emotions we live with day to day, and the kind of relationships you're going to experience in this lifetime. So this is something I highly, highly recommend. If you are not actively working on it, start working on it and always keep working on it, because it's like a garden that needs tending to every single day. You'll be watering every single day. You'll be giving the fertilizer. You cannot abandon this garden, and it exists within you. So let's go through the 3 steps to nurture self-love. Now, the way I understand self-love, and this is an extensive study that I've been doing. Most of the people think that if they care for themselves, self-care is self-love. No, self-care is just tip of the iceberg. And most people do self-care. Yes, their self-care would look different. For a mom, self-care would look like one day she just go out for grocery shopping or shopping by herself, and she's like, I just need to get out of here. Maybe for another mom, it will mean she has a spa day for herself. These are all self-care. Yes, when you think you're somebody, you will naturally care for yourself, but that does not mean you are in love with yourself. Being in love with yourself is very different. Let's say there's a stranger on your street, you go out, they have a flat tire, you'll help them change the tire. That's general care that you have for a stranger. But are you in love with that stranger? No, you're not. So we are going to make sure that we are in love with ourselves, not just at the level of self-care. When we start to go deeper, another thing that happened is self-awareness. So you're going to become very aware that, oh, this is how I behave. Oh, this is what I do. Oh, that's how I am. A lot of people think, oh, because I'm self-aware, I have grown already. I'm a growth-minded person, and self-awareness can come by you just listening to a talk or you just reading a couple of books. Depending on the area you're reading, you're going to become aware in that area. Now, there is another part, self-acceptance. I consider that is the place where you are unconditionally in love with yourself. And self-acceptance can take your whole lifetime because there's so many layers to it. That's when you start accepting yourself just the way you are, without trying to change yourself, without trying to tell yourself, hey, what's wrong with you? Why can't you lose that weight? Hey, what's wrong with you? Why can't you be a millionaire by now? Hey, what's wrong with you? Why can't you have a good relationship? When that voice completely leaves you and it gets replaced by, it's okay, it's okay. And nothing gets triggered anymore. That is the level of self-acceptance. And I can tell you, my friends, for past 7 years, I have been actively studying, and it's safe to say there has not been a day, not even a day, that I would not learn something new, listen to something new, or study something new. And some days, some years out of these 7 years have been like, I'll be studying somewhere 8 to 10 hours every single day, because I started this journey with a lot of questions. So the reason I'm telling you, going through all that 7 years, still, when I am in midst of something, there's this voice comes and it's like, why couldn't you this? So I know that that is the place where I need to work on more acceptance. And as you accept yourself, your body start to get loosened up. You start to go kind of like deeper within yourself, deeper within yourself. We want to get so aware and so accepting of ourselves that a point comes where you can say, you know what? I don't need to change anything about me. I am perfect just the way I am. But really internalize it, get it to a level of unconscious mind. Not just say it from consciously. Consciously, we all can say that because, we want to look cool. We want to say, like, we are very grown people. Look at me. I've been doing self development. I can get on Facebook. I can talk about it, how important it is to accept yourself. But do I really believe that? Unconsciously, not just consciously, because it's our unconscious mind, unconscious behavior that actually create our life experience. If I truly accept myself, then why would I be crying at night? Maybe every night. I might be saying, oh, I'm crying because my period is coming and, my emotions are up and down, my hormones are up and down. That's all BS that we tell ourselves. No, that's not true. Just because our period is coming is not a reason for us to be bawling at night. There's something in our unconscious mind that is chipping away on us. When our energy shifts, because this is what happened when we go through our period as a woman. When you go through your period, your energy shifts like this. You go from like one way of being to another because a new cycle is starting. That is a time when we are so powerful. When we go through that release process, releasing of old and embracing the new, we become more powerful. Anything else, like, we should be more at peace with ourselves. Why we are not? Why we are not? Because we go towards medicine and we're like, oh, let me fix my hormones. How about we fix what is going on inside of us, in our unconscious mind, that's creating that chaos within us? That is deep work, my friend. That is called inner work. and people run away from it, people shy away from it, people will come to it, and then they'll completely get scared, they'll run away from it, saying so many things. Oh, it's too expensive. Oh, I don't have time. Oh, I think I'm good. I'm already good. I don't need to do this work. I have already grown. So many excuses are going to come to surface. But if you don't walk through that door, if you're not consistently doing that work, you are not at a level where you can say, I am unconditionally in love with myself. If you still want to say that, you're just lying to yourself. And it doesn't impact anyone but just you. So what my wish for all of you is we all accept, oh, I need to do this work. I want to do this work. Maybe I'm not ready right now. Maybe I'll be ready in 5 years. It's okay. It's okay. Accept that I am not ready to do that work, but don't tell yourself, because we all have to be cool. Don't tell yourself out of that compulsion that, oh, I'm already grown. I have already done that work. I'm already there. There's no getting there. There's only keep walking. So I think I have spent enough time in convincing you guys, okay, let's get through these 3 steps. You follow these 3 steps, start following them from today. You're going to start getting very close to self-acceptance. And another thing that would happen, you'll be doing them every single day, and you will see that as the days pass, you're just going to get deeper, 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 deeper within yourself. And something is going to start to open within you. If you're going to physically feel you're expanding and you're getting more settled within yourself. That's how it feels when you're actively doing the work. So the first one is 3 steps to nurturing self-love. The first one is spending alone time with you. Now, when I say spending alone time with you, it's not with your cell phone, it's not with a book, it's not your coloring. This is you literally sitting like this with yourself. It's not even meditation. You can count meditation if you're doing guided meditation. I personally always do guided meditation. There's a path that you're taking, because I personally do those meditation that take me deep into deeper part of my mind. So there's a process I'm following. But this I'm talking about, maybe you go out in a park and you're just sitting there with yourself, taking a deep breath. Okay, I'm here with myself. And you just pay attention to what's going on. What are the voices in your head? What happens when you spend alone time with yourself? You start to become aware of the voice of your soul. So there's 3 voices within our head at any time: voice of fear, voice of others, and voice of our soul. Your soul is talking to you. It's directing you, go here, go there. It's always telling you, because it wants you to walk on your soul's path. But you're not going to hear it if you're always hanging out with someone else, or the only time you're alone, when you're, taking a shower, or maybe eating, or when you're cooking or washing dishes or doing cleaning, or when you're driving. Because when you're driving, everything is involved in that activity of driving. I'm talking about just sitting there and doing nothing. You can start with 5 minutes, but if you can do it for 30 minutes, it's wonderful. You are going to see a change within yourself when you do this, because 1, it checks self-care. You start to become aware of who you really are, not who you pretend to be, not the roles that you play, who you truly are, the parts of you that you've been running away from, the parts of you that you've been rejecting. You're going to start becoming aware of them. The second is treating yourself as your own child. Now, this one thing, if you just take this one thing from today, and we never see each other again, and you never learn one more thing from me, and you just start living your life that way, your life is completely going to change. Now, how are we going to do that? Think of your 5-year-old self. And now start to treat yourself as that 5-year-old self. All the adults know, or naturally they'll treat that 5-year-old kid. It could be a complete stranger. It could be your neighbor's kid. It could be your niece or nephew, or it could be your own child. You're going to treat that child with love, with kindness. You're not going to judge it. You're not going to try to shame and guilt it, given that you're an emotionally healthy human being. You're not going to demand a 20-hour workday from that child. You're not going to demand, or you're not going to demand from that child to please everybody else and not do anything for yourself. You're going to make sure that child have some kind of healthy dose of fun. You're going to make sure that child have some time to be creative. You're going to make sure that that child is not burdened with all the worries. So start treating yourself that way. One of the things I tell my mom clients, become your own firstborn. Start treating yourself as you are your first child, and then whoever the child is your second child. It is such an easy way to regulate your own behavior, your own treatment of yourself. You're not going to let yourself stay in a toxic work environment, in a toxic relationship, if you're looking at yourself as a 5-year-old child. Something that is going to help you tremendously: get a picture of yourself when you were 5 and either put it in your purse, put it on your desk, and look at it quite often. And just ask yourself, this is the child I'm responsible for. How am I going to treat this kid? What am I going to do for this kid? A holiday weekend is coming. How am I going to treat this little kid over here? If you're just in communication with that little kid within you who's 5-year-old, it will be so much easier for you to navigate your relationship with yourself. And it will be so much easier for you to fall in love with yourself. So much easier. The third one is acceptance. Now, what we are accepting here, we are accepting that there's nothing you can do wrong. So there's no mistake you can make. There's nothing wrong with you. No matter how your physical body is, how your work is, where you are in terms of your career, where you are in terms of life achievement, the way we compare with ourselves with others, in terms of, do you have kids? Do you have kids? Are you married? Are you divorced? We compare ourselves in so many different ways. But if you look at it, there's nothing you can do wrong. There's no mistakes you can ever make. Anything you're doing, it's okay. You can fix it. You can do something about it. So this is, again, treating yourself as a 5-year-old kid. But then, you might be thinking, but Alia, I make mistakes all the time. If I won't catch myself making those mistakes, how would I improve? There's a difference in saying, there's something wrong with me. Why do I make all these mistakes? I'm so clumsy. And saying, oh, I dropped this. It's okay. Both way of communicating with yourself are taking you to the same end, but one is tearing you apart, and the other one is a place of acceptance. There's nothing I can ever do wrong. Because any action that you're taking it from the current consciousness. Let's say you did something horrible last year and you've been just beating yourself up about it. The person who did it last year, they had to do it to give birth to the person you're today. So there was some wisdom in that current consciousness. So you will go through those actions. So after that, maybe you realized, oh, this is not the path I want to go. And you shifted. Just keep going. There's no need for you to beat yourself up. Just make a decision. Oh, I don't want to do it next time. This is going to take all the criticism out. And, one thing I notice a lot in in women, we love to criticize ourselves. This is how we feel um, self-intimacy. We feel intimate with ourselves when we are criticizing, bashing ourselves. There would be like a whole showdown of criticism. It's unfortunate that that's how we have learned to connect with ourselves. It's not healthy. It's not healthy. It's you're tearing yourself down all by yourself. It does not benefit anybody. And in that moment, you might look like the cool person, such an open and accepting person that you don't have any problem criticizing yourself openly. In that moment, that's maybe the repetition you'll be getting, or that could be the motive that you'll have. But unconsciously, you're destroying yourself. And you are going to feel that impact sooner or later. Why do it? Because your unconscious is listening. That little kid within you is listening. If you're tearing apart a 5-year-old, do you think they're going to be happy? No, they're not going to be happy. They're going to internalize there's something wrong with me. And after 5 years, when you're in a relationship, you're going to feel like there's something wrong with me. But then at the same time, you're like, oh, I'm very accepting of myself. I'm very growth minded. But then deep down, you're just unconsciously, you feel there's something wrong with you. There's something wrong with you. So, what we want to change here, we want our attitude towards ourselves that there's nothing I can do wrong. Just going to quickly, okay. So, when the voice of criticism comes, ask yourself whose voice is that? Because again, you'll be like, oh, but I have done all these things wrong. There's a voice that's always talking to you, telling you how bad you are. Ask yourself whose voice is that? It talks to you in your voice, but it's not your voice. Ask yourself, is it mom's voice or is it dad's voice? And the truth will come to you. Another question to ask in that moment, is it true? Am I really that bad of a person? Is there really something wrong with me? The more you ask yourself this question, is it true? You'll be able to see the lies fall apart, because our mind is full of lies against ourselves. When you ask yourself, is it true? It kind of disappears. And it's just like, somebody who's like bothering you, as soon as you look at them, they just disappear. They're like, oh, I got caught. So get in a habit of asking yourself, whose voice is it? Is it really true? And when we look at another concept, like, I want to be perfect, I want to be whole, I want to be enough, keep in mind, again, play of words, you're never going to be perfect. You'll always be growing, because this is what's going to happen. Let's say your perfect is when I'm a specific weight, when I look certain way, when I have certain bank account, and when I have a certain person by my side. That's your perfect. You're going to achieve it. Once you achieve it, naturally as human, we want more. If you don't want more as a human, there's something blocking you. We are created to have more, to create more, to be more, because we are for more life. So once you get to that complete, you are going to want more. So then there's another level for you to travel, another level for you to travel. So we don't go after perfection, we go after excellence. Can you be the better version of you next year? So look at yourself where you are right now. What is the distance that you want to travel? What are the characteristics you want to polish up more, or you want to bring them out within you? No matter how you're labeling yourself, you're an unlimited being. You can become whoever you want to become. You can bring any characteristics within you that you think are not there, but they are always there. You just have to dig deeper and bring them out. So continuously having a vision for who you want to be and working on it. And just asking yourself, am I a better version of me than I was yesterday? If you just compete with yourself and don't compare yourself with the rest of the world, you're going to stay in love with yourself always and forever. And very soon you'll start to experience that you are You have started to love yourself unconditionally. There's no need for criticism. There's no need to tear you down or tear you yourself apart to make you feel better or make you feel like, oh, you're doing the right thing. There is going to be just pure love. So the 3 steps are spending alone time, treating yourself as your own child, and accepting that there is nothing you can do wrong. So that is you accepting your wholeness, your completeness. So this is all, my friends, for today's love circle. If you have any question, reach out to me. You can very easily find me, Ali at the Love Code. Just Google it, you'll find me. If you want to just have a conversation, reach out to me. We can schedule a time. You have any question regarding what I talked about, we can talk about that. And if you feel like you're ready to take this journey, you're ready to go deeper within you and do the inner work where you can build that foundation for yourself. So you're not afraid of somebody leaving you or of losing somebody. So nobody can rock your world because you become your own rock. Reach out to me. Let's do that. I wouldn't want you to spend another year of your life feeling, living in that fear and anxiety of losing other people or not feeling that you are good enough to go after the dreams that you have. So that is all for today. Sending you all lots of love, and I'll see you next Thursday. Bye.